Hello, St. Therese. Today I'd like to take the opportunity to show you some things that I cannot show you when I'm in school, because I don't have all these toys that I have here in my basements at school, and if I do, I can't bring them down to your room. So today I'm here in my office basement, and I'm going to show you the drum set. This is my big recording drum set that I have at home, and it consists of a bunch of different things. The first thing that I really want to show you today is one of the main drums called the snare drum. But let me show you everything that's here first. One, we have the tom-toms. The big blue drums here are called the tom-toms. They sound like this. We have the biggest one on the bottom called the bass drum. And the bass drum, I play with my feet. I have foot pedals down here so I can play the bass drum with my feet. That's the bass drum. Up here, the big metal things, these are all cymbals. That's a gong. These are all cymbals that start with a C, C-Y-M-B-A-L, cymbals. We have a ride cymbal here. These are crash cymbals. We have a little bitty splash cymbal right here. And then the special one over here is called a hi-hat. It has a stand which allows me to, it has two cymbals sitting on top of each other, and it allows me to click it. When I close my foot pedal, I can make that sound, or I can hit it with my stick, or hit it when it's open. So this is my drum set. Let me let you hear what everything sounds like together. Here's a little drum solo so you can hear what everything sounds like. But today, the main drum I want to talk about is the snare drum. And the snare drum is one of the most important drums of the drum set. The two most important drums are the bass drum and the snare drum. And what makes the snare drum so important is that it sounds different. It sounds like this. As opposed to, that's the sound of a regular tom-tom. This is the sound of a snare drum. What makes the snare drum different is that on the bottom of the snare drum, it has these metal strips. These are called snares, and they make the drum sound extra high pitched. And this little part right here is called the snare throw off, which allows me to turn the snare part off. When I do that, the metal parts no longer touch the head. They kind of hang down like that. So now when I hit the drum, it sounds like a normal drum. But when I put the snares back on, now it sounds like a snare. This is a really cool drum because it comes to us originally from the Army. They used to use this drum in the Army because it's really loud. It's an outside drum, and it's made to communicate over long distances. The army general, the leader of the army, would tell, he would have 3, 4, 5, 10, sometimes snare drummers. And they would also have, with the snare drummers, they have the bass drum too. So they have the snare drums and the bass drums together. And they would play signals to tell the army which way to tell the army what to do. Where they wanted the army to attack, to go forward, or to come backwards, or to go to the left or the right. The snare drum would play a signal, and the troops were here to cross the battlefield, and the army would know what to do. So it was used for communication. And in the army, they did some very cool things. They invented what was called rudiments. Can you say rudiments? Rudiments. These are some very important skills that a drummer has to learn in order to play the signals. One of the first rudiments that the drummer would have learned to play was a single stroke roll. And a single stroke roll means for each stick, the right stick and the left stick, you're only going to play one note. One on the right, then one on the left. Then back to the right, and back to the left. And you want to keep it nice and even. Same stick height for both hands with the same velocity. Here's an example. After they did the single stroke roll, the general said, well, if you're going to play in my army, you got to be able to do doubles too. So here's a double stroke roll. The double stroke roll has 2 notes on each hand, or with each stick, 2 with the right stick, and then 2 with the left stick. And you start out slow, and you learn to get faster. Right, right, left, left. Here's the double stroke roll. And after that, we started combining those ideas of singles, 1 note per hand, and doubles, 2 notes per hand, and mixing those up into new rudiments. Here's one that's not an official rudiment, but it's very popular. This is called a pudida. A pudida, pa, is 1 single on the right hand, and da-da is a double on the other hand, in this case the left hand. Play 1 single on the right, then a double on the left. Pa-da-da. Pa-da-da. Here's an example. So now I'm going to play a piece for you called Crazy Army. This was a piece of music that's considered ancient music because it's very old. This is a very old marching piece that the Army would have used for marching down the street to keep the troops in line as they march and step together. So this is a piece called Crazy Army. I'm going to play snare drum and I'm going to play bass drum so you can hear how it sounds when the snare drums and the bass drums play together. Here's Crazy Army. So after the drums were part of the war, they started using the drums, the snare drum and the bass drum, for playing parties and celebratory music. The snare drum went from a drum of war to a drum of parties and good times. Here's a song that you guys may know that uses the bass drum and the snare drum. And I'm going to use the drum set here to play it as opposed to the marching drums. I'm going to use my drum set snare drum. And I'm going to play like they played in New Orleans. In New Orleans, they have that style of music that's descended directly from the marching drumming that they use for playing outside and playing for parties and having a good time. So we're going to do a song you may know, or you might not. This is called When the Saints Come Marching In. About that. There's a rhythm in When the Saints Go Marching In. That's another ancient rhythm. This one's from West Africa, and it's very old. It's about 500 years old, and it's called son clave. Can you say clave? Clave. I'm going to do it once. Here we go. It's 5 notes, 3 then 2. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I want you to listen to that rhythm. And if you hear it, I want you to clap along with me and clap the rhythm to the song and listen to the words as we go by, Now, that's all the important stuff, all the teaching stuff. Now let's have some fun. I'm going to use my drum set again, and this time I'm going to play with my friend Sarah Jane Lane, and I would like you to tap your knees and do some jumping and some spinning and some flying like a bird. I'm going to play drum set. My friend Sarah Jane Lane is going to sing, and she's going to play guitar. I'm going to use the computer to play some more parts, to play the bass part again. And then I'm going to tell you how to do some motions. I'm going to talk through some motions with me. So I want you to stand up, have some fun, and do the motions with me. And this is the last part of our music today. So stand up, have some fun, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Let's take out our hands with the use of the tap our knees. Here we go.
Knees are for tapping, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to tap my knees, I wanna tap along with you. Tap, tap, tappity, tapple. Tap, tap, tappity, too. Tap, tap, tappity, tapple. I wanna tap along with you.
Alright, so now let me see you take out your clappers. That will be your hands. Let's get our hands together and let's do some clapping.
Hands are for clapping.
let me see your feet. Let's use your feet to do some stomping. Let's stomp around like you're really, really mad.
Feet up for stomping, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to stomp my feet, I wanna stomp along with you. Stomp, stomp, stompity, stomp 'em. Stomp, stomp, stompity, stew. Stomp, stomp, stompity, stomp 'em. I wanna stomp along with you.
Let's move up from our feet to our legs. Now let's use our legs to do some jumping. How high can you jump? Everybody jump.
Legs up for jumping, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to jump around, I wanna jump along with you. Jump, jump, jumpity, jumping. Jump, jump, jumpity, jump. Jump, jump, jumpity, jumping. I wanna jump along with you.
All right, everyone, it's time to do some spinning. Let's take our whole body and spin it around.
Body's up for spinning, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to spin around, I wanna spin around with you. Spin, spin, spinnity, spinning. Spin, spin, spinnity, spoon. Spin, spin, spinnity, spinning. I wanna spin around with you.
How about your arms? Let's use your arms to fly like a bird or like a plane. Lift off in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Arms up for flying, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to fly around, I wanna fly around with you. Fly, 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 to fly, fly. Fly, 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 to flew. Fly, 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 to fly, fly. I wanna fly around with you.
Let's use our legs to gallop like a horse. Horses are big and strong, so let's gallop nice and strong. Giddy up.
Legs are for galloping, and that's just what I wanna do. I really like to gallop around, I wanna gallop around with you. Gallop, 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 gallop. Gallop, 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 goo. Gallop, 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 gallop. I wanna gallop around with you.
All right, here's a fun one. Let's all wiggle. Take our whole body and wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Bodies are for wiggling, and that's just what I'm gonna do. I really like to wiggle my body, wanna wiggle around with you. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggly, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggly, woo, woo, woo. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggly, wiggle. I wanna wiggle around with you.
What's the name of this song? Oh yeah, knees are for tapping. Let's tap our knees one more time.